Right now we've got Angela Williams, our next guest. It's From Sorrows to Sapphires is her book. It's a true story. And you gave us an alarming statistic.
1 out of every 4 girls and 1 out of every 6 boys. But I caution you on those facts because only 1 in 10 children will ever tell about the abuse. So it's even more alarming than those statistics. And sadly, 90% of the abuse is from someone the child knows, loves, and trusts. And there are 39 million reported survivors in the U.S. And you can quadruple that number.
I don't understand it. I really don't, except to say it's just totally from Satan.
It's
just from the pits.
It's demonic. Mm-hmm.
I just never knew it was that prevalent.
I think a lot of people don't know, and honestly, a lot of people don't want to know. I think a lot of people think that happens in a parallel universe. It's not going to happen in my home, in my church, on my street, in my community.
And it does.
And it does. And that's why I founded Voice, because I want to break the silence of child sexual abuse. I want to help the next generation of children to be safe.
How did this become a hot button for you? How did this become a passion for you? Because you can tell you're passionate about it.
I'm very passionate about it. It became a hot button because I'm a survivor of 14 years of sexual abuse at the hands of my stepfather. And was that little girl who suffered in silence and could never tell anyone and was paralyzed in fear from my stepfather. And we were a normal middle-class family. My mother was a school teacher. My stepfather worked at the local factory. From the outside looking in, we looked normal. And
Your mom had no clue?
She was in denial, like a lot of people are in denial. They don't ask the questions that need to be asked. So out of that 14 years of abuse and 20 plus years of the journey of healing, God told me many, many, many years ago that I was to do this, and I ran. I ran from it. I'm like, pick somebody else. I'm not doing this. I'm not God. And He gifted me to write, and just wouldn't give me no peace until I wrote my story. And the story I wrote for 2 reasons. One is to let people understand what a child goes through, to really break the silence.
What do they go through?
They are paralyzed in fear, they're shamed, they have just a wax coating I describe in my book of shame on them. Society puts the shame on the victim and not on the perpetrator. Society does not want to hear about this. We want to protect Uncle Joe, or we want to protect Grandpa, or we want to protect the coach or the priest. The abuser gets protected and the child's left to suffer because no one wants to talk about it.
I just think it's hard to comprehend. I mean, I just think for people just like, what?
But we have to.
I know.
We have to. And this is the day and this is the time. And we are starting the Voice movement, and we are going to make a difference.
I love it.
We are going to make a difference.
How? I'm not even going to, I mean, I'm just going to get right to it. You became whole again.
I did.
And it's because of Jesus.
It's because of Jesus. And I will tell you that I went on a retreat every year for 15 years in Callaway Gardens, and I think you're going to have Dr. Tracy Alexander on next with Mylon Ministry. And during that sabbatical that I took every year, God continued to birth this ministry in me and birth this passion and birth this purpose for my life. And it was at that retreat that He spoke to me to write From Sorrows to Sapphires. And it was at that retreat.
At a women's retreat.
At the women's retreat. It was. It was in the little chapel in Callaway Gardens after having all these wonderful speakers pour into my life, and to really realize that I can have victory and I can be happy and I can live with the power of Jesus Christ in me.
And that's the only way you can be whole.
And you know what? All things work together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. And I knew at that moment I was called. This is what I was called to do. So I wrote the book and I thought, here you go, God, I did it. I wrote my story. It's going to heal a lot of lives. It's going to help a lot of sisters know that I've walked beside them. Here you go. And God was like, oh no, I'm not finished with you. I am not finished. And that's when Voice came to be. And just real briefly, and you can ask me questions about any of these, but we have 3 missions at Voice. One is to help survivors speak out, to give them a voice of healing through the power of Jesus Christ. We have scholarship 12 women that will be coming to Callaway to October 16th through the 18th to receive healing along their journey. We are providing scholarships for counseling. We're working on raising funds for scholarship for long-term counseling and therapy.
Wow.
And we're creating a movement that will empower survivors, a movement, and they can go to voicetoday.org.
See, that's what I'm saying. How can they get a hold of you?
Voicetoday.org and join that movement. The second mission is we're given a voice of protection to children. We have to teach children the risk and the response. We have to come alongside these little ones as adults. And we at Voice are seeking a social change where we take the responsibility of child sexual abuse off the child and we place it on the adult where it belongs. So in this, we call it the circle of safety. If you can picture the child in the center of the bullseye, and we create layers of protection around that child. We are creating characters. Gracie and Grant are going to be our mascots for the cause, and we're creating children's books, and we're working with Savannah College of Art and Design to bring those to reality. And parents will have tools to sit down with their children and explain to them where the risks are and explain to them what their no voice is and how that sounds like and the danger of a secret and a surprise. So that's our second mission.
Danger of a secret.
The danger of the secret, yes.
It.
The perpetrator convinces the child not to tell, manipulates the child, grooms the child, so the child is entrapped in this horrible secret and they begin to have that shame just heaped on them. And they can't release the secret. They are petrified of what that would cause. The third mission is to give a voice of prevention to adults. And we teach 4 workshops. And I just wanted to...
What do you mean by voice of prevention?
This can be... That's big, right?
Well, it just sounds, is it what I think it sounds like?
Yes. It's
Okay.
taking the responsibility by educating yourself, by making yourself aware. The 4 classes that we teach a class called Stewards of Children. And it's very practical steps of how you can protect a child.